Let's begin with the breaking news. Did President Trump attempt to bribe the head of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps?
Yes, it is. And it is a bombshell, Judge. And Larry and I got confirmation and reconfirmation earlier this week. We've been on this since Monday. And yesterday we did a show together where we reconfirmed and then we exposed it for the first time, the mechanism. Basically, this was a back channel opened by Tulsi Gabbard in May, so 3 months ago, under orders of Trump and J.D. Vance. It was via Nurshirvan Barzani, the president of the Kurdistan regional government in northern Iraq. And this was a channel specifically to contact Ahmad Vahidi, the commander-in-chief of the IRGC. So this channel was dormant. Nothing happened in May. But the channel was there, was established. Nothing much happened for 3 months. But then a few days ago, Trump reactivated the channel, once again via Barzani in Erbil. There was a secure line connecting the US to Barzani in Erbil. And once again, targeting Vahidi. And that's when the story enters Tom Clancy territory, in fact. Trump wanted to bribe Vahidi to the tune, according to our source, of billions of dollars, playing Brit-style, copied from the Roman Empire, divide and rule, to break the IRGC from the inside. The problem is Vahidi, obviously, he said, not only he said totally no, because this is against the Shiite code of ethics, of morals, of Shiite resistance, you name it. But also he told the people in charge in Iran. Don't forget that he's not the second or the third most powerful man in Iran. The second most powerful is Mohsen Rezai, who was also before that, during the Iran-Iraq war, for instance, he was the commander of the IRGC. And he is now the secretary of the Supreme National Security Council and personal representative of the Supreme Leader. So this made all the rounds at the top levels of the Iranian government. And at the office of Mojtaba Khamenei, one of the components of his tight circle was authorized to pass this information to the Pakistani mediators. And this reached Asim Munir in Pakistan, the field marshal, who Trump calls almost every day, trying to find enough ramp for him. And that's how we learned the whole thing. So the source, it could not be more unimpeachable, is straight from the office of leader Mojtaba Khamenei. So this is how it worked. The White House contacted Barzani. Barzani contacted Vahidi. Vahidi said no and talked with Mohsen Rezai, and this arrived to the Supreme Leader. And then the office of the Supreme Leader authorized, okay, pass this information to the Pakistanis because after all, they are the mediators. They need to know about this. And obviously, this is how we learned in the past few days, and we reconfirmed definitely yesterday.
Why is this not front page, top of the fold news that Trump attempted to bribe with in excess of $1 billion the head of the IRGC?
It should be front page news everywhere, from West Asia to Mar-a-Lago and Washington. No question about that. There are several reasons why this will not be confirmed publicly. First of all, the IRGC is very reticent to share this kind of information. This is extremely sensitive information, which they guard for themselves. And of course, they share only with very, very close partners. Second, they know that there will be repercussions if this goes out globally. And obviously, the American empire is going to become even more deranged than it already is. So none of us are expecting any public confirmation of this information, but we stand by our source. And Larry and I, we talked about it, and that's it. Coming from this kind of source, that's it. It's unimpeachable. And obviously, the source would never lie about it, and the Pakistanis will never lie about it because they have interest to preserve the diplomatic channels. Not only a diplomatic channel with the US, by the way, started to bomb. The West is starting to bomb the Pakistani mediating channel. But they want to keep the channels open with the Iranians because this is of interest of Iran, of Pakistan, and especially China. Because China has been in the background all the past 2 months or during the dead cat MOU life, because China was basically talking to Pakistan, do anything to try to get a break and get the Americans back on the table before and after Trump blew up the MOU. Yes,
this
Judge,
attempted bribe, particularly one of somebody as powerful as the head of the Revolutionary Guard, and particularly one involving more than $1 billion, is right out of the Israeli playbook. Were they involved in any of this?
We don't know if Israel was directly involved. We don't have this information. What we do know is that the playbook, Judge, was the Venezuelan playbook. The problem is nobody at the Trump administration is cultured enough to make the difference between corrupt Latin American elites, not people. And some friends from Venezuela told me, please don't make the mistake of confounding us with the elites. Of course not. But elites in Latin America, wherever they are easily bribable with a suitcase full of dollars. And history has proved them to us over and over again. With the Shiite and especially the hard note of the Iranian state, which is the IRGC. These people are incorruptible. Whatever their other faults, we're not commenting on that, but they are incorruptible because they see themselves as on a mission to defend Iran from an existential foreign threat, and they're acting accordingly. And on top of it, Judge, the Trump administration went after the wrong guy.
Right.
The really powerful guy is Mohsen Rezai, is not Vahidi. Mohsen Rezai is over let's say, micro and micro managing everything concerning military matters. And of course, in direct communication with the leader full time. After all, he's the personal representative of Mojtaba Khamenei. He was appointed only less than 2 weeks ago to this post.
Wow. So the United States, if it thinks it can bribe the Iranians, particularly a person of this magnitude, number 3 in the leadership, as you say, manifests yet again a gross misunderstanding of Iranian culture, Iranian thinking, Iranian determination. I mean, Trump sounds, if your sources are right, Trump is acting like a mafia boss.
Once again, well, this is, did you see the latest episode, Judge, with North Korea and South Korea? Yes. So he was, caressing at the back of the DPRK. And at the same time, in his own words, I asked 10 billion from South Korea, mafia protection money. This is how this empire of grifters work. And it's transparent to the absolute overwhelming majority of the global South and some nodes in the global North as well. This is what it is, an empire of grifters. We lie, we cheat, we steal, and we bribe.
What was your analysis of the false flag, the Israeli false flag involving Air Force One? I mean, the Mossad told somebody in the U.S., either Secret Service or CIA, that the Iranians were going to shoot down Air Force One. They'd take Trump out in a food truck with his personal assistant and with Secretary Hegseth. They leave Secretary Rubio, the rest of the senior staff, and 110 journalists on Air Force One as if it were a decoy. They send the intel that Mossad gave them to the CIA. CIA says low confidence. According to Phil Giraldi, low confidence means it's a piece of garbage. Don't believe
It's a piece of garbage. Exactly.
Trump chooses to believe Mossad rather than CIA. So Mossad scares the daylights out of Trump in an effort to get him to dial back diplomacy with Iran and reincorporate or reinstate military activities.
Well, you answered your own question, Judge. That's exactly what it is. When even the CIA says this intel is garbage, the president of the United States is run by Mossad. This is the headline, which, of course, anybody with an IQ in the US already knows. Well, apart from that, we are getting on the chessboard itself. It's getting hairier and hairier by the minute. This Israeli attack on Turkish assets in Syria could be the prelude of the prelude for the next war, which was already telegraphed by the Israelis themselves. Turkey is next.